이번에는 10년 후 미래의 저자인 데니얼 엘트먼 교수님을 큰 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다.
Good afternoon. How is everybody today? It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. I thank you very much for having me. And today we're going to talk about Korea's economic future. And I'm going to prove to you that it is an extremely important moment, perhaps a perfect moment for us to have this discussion, because Korea has an opportunity now to choose a new future. Korea is on the same path of economic growth that China is on, and also that Japan has been on, because it has been able to take advantage of some of the easy ways to raise living standards for its people. It's been able to move people from the farms into the cities so they can work in big factories and big service operations. And it's been able to export a lot of products to the rest of the world at lower costs so that you can be more competitive and start to see wages rise. Japan did this too. But after Japan used up all of the energy of these engines of economic growth, Japan stopped growing. Korea now faces the choice whether to follow Japan down that road or to choose a new path. And if Korea chooses well, it will be an example for China, which will follow in the same path in another 15 or 20 years, just as Korea followed Japan. So let's talk about these similarities, and let's see where Korea may need to change course slightly in order to achieve a better outcome. Let's start by looking at some economic growth rates. Right now, if you look at a 10-year moving average of growth in gross domestic product for China, Japan, and Korea, this is essentially what it looks like in recent history. Now, these may look very different to you. You can see that Japan has had a long and slow decline in growth. China is still growing very quickly, and Korea has also started to decline somewhat. But what happens if you take these curves and you shift them a little bit in time? Then we see just how much of a relationship there is between these three economic paths. This is what it looks like if I take Japan's economic history and just shift it by about 20 years. We can see that Korea, the orange line, is starting to experience the same decline that Japan did. And there's a reason for that. There's only so much that you can do in terms of urbanizing your population and exporting the same products at lower prices before you have to find new ways to grow. Japan never found those new ways to grow, and the question is, can Korea? Korea needs innovation to avoid becoming Japan. It has maybe 15 to 20 years left of this rapid growth that it's been experiencing before it will settle in to a long-term growth path. For Japan, that long-term growth path meant growing at perhaps 1% per year, adjusted for inflation. In the United States, we're used to growing at 2 or 3% per year, adjusted for inflation. So Japan has not been able to generate the same levels of growth as the United States, and a big part of the reason is the lack in innovation and entrepreneurship. The question is, when Korea, 15 or 20 years from now, settles into that long-term steady growth path, how fast will it be growing? Will it be growing only 1% per year like Japan? Or will it be growing at 2 or 3% like the United States? This is why Korea needs innovation in order to avoid that low growth rate. I think that there will be some deep changes necessary in order to make this happen. Another challenge here, which is related, is creativity. The size of the creative class in Korea is not as large as in many of these other countries, including some in the neighborhood. It's bigger than in Japan and China and Vietnam, but much smaller than in some of the most innovative countries in the world. So we're talking about the academics, the artisans, the people who are trying to think of new ideas and new ways to improve the lives of Koreans. There are fewer of those people here than there are in many other countries. And again, it may be to do with the culture. What kind of careers are you encouraged to follow as you finish your studies and go on into your regular lives? Now, I would say that Korea has been quite good at adopting some of the direct approaches to innovation and entrepreneurship. And by direct approaches, I mean it's something that you can do directly. The government can set up a program and try to manifest innovation and entrepreneurship in a certain way. And these include science and technology education, which is excellent here, as we know, some of the best in the world. What is missing in Korea, to my eye, are some of the environmental approaches. Not the direct approaches that say, set up a specific program or an incentive to be innovative, but create an entire environment, create an ecology that supports innovation and entrepreneurship. These are the things that need improvement. For example, societal support for entrepreneurship. Do your parents encourage you to start your own business? Does society as a whole encourage you to start your own business? Do your teachers encourage you to start your own business? In countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, there is quite a lot of encouragement for that. And that's what helps to push innovation along. Are you open to the rest of the world? We know that Korea is one of the most connected countries in the world, so you get a lot of ideas from around the world. But how open are you to incorporating them into your society? And what about incorporating new people into your society? How open are you to immigration and having the direct influence of people from other cultures here? And do you really support competition? Japan tried 10 years ago to support competition, to make people think that competition was a good thing. They even gave classes in junior high schools to encourage children to think of competition with many actors in the same market as a positive thing. But it didn't really take, because in Japan, they were used to having a few large actors in each industry controlling the market. And that's the model that still endures. Is that model going to endure here in Korea? If it does, I suspect that the rate of innovation will be lower. Finally, how much are you encouraged to question authority? To say, the person who is my boss is wrong. The thing I read in the book is wrong. I have a new way of looking at this issue. Questioning authority is very important. Now, we have to respect our elders and the people who teach us, because they're giving their time and they're putting an effort to help us to lead better lives. But we also have to have the license to question them, because how else will we come up with new ideas? How else will we innovate unless we question what has already been established? This is something that needs improvement at the environmental level. Now, Korea has a lot of positives. The advantages include a really strong work ethic, a remarkable work ethic, real commitment to the national project, because people here, I truly believe, want to see Korea succeed and they want to be part of that success. There is a growing welcome for immigrants, which I think is a very positive factor. And there's a high level of research productivity. These things are helping Korea to move forward. These things will help it to avoid Japan's fate. But those alone are not enough. If you want to choose a new path now, which is not the same as Japan's, if you want to set an example for China, you have to transform this economy to welcome innovation and entrepreneurship. So I wish you the best of luck in that. Thank you very much.